Hello, this is James Arthur Ray, the author of the New York Times bestseller Harmonic Wealth. There's a lot of talk about changing the world and what it's going to take to change the world. Let me give you a reframe on this, if I may. First of all, let me submit to you that you cannot not change the world. You already do change the world. Now, the mystical traditions have known this since antiquity, and modern science is telling us this now as well. There's a concept in modern science called a sensitive dependence on initial conditions, also known as the butterfly effect. Maybe you've heard about this, which basically states that if a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan today, it might create a tsunami off of the coast of New York City 2 months from today. Everything affects everything. Everything you do affects me at some subtle, if not profound, measure. Now, I know that might be a mind stretch for you, but it's true nonetheless. We're all interconnected, we're quantumly entangled, and we have an impact on the entire world. Every single thing you do echoes across the span of eternity. So then the question becomes not about changing the world, because the world is the world. The question really becomes, how do I positively influence or impact the world? You see, my experience tells us that every single one of us has a desire to influence or impact the world, to leave a legacy far beyond our physical years. And so, what kinds of people do this? Well, a lot of people do this. But let me talk about two basic categories today. The first one is educators. You see, every great forward shift in society, if you go back in history and you study history, has come from a shift in consciousness, a shift in awareness, an awakening, if you will, to a new perspective. You see, the technology for the internet, which this film is being broadcast on right now, has always been here. It's always been here. We just had to awaken to the fact of how to access it. You with me? Cellular technology has always been here. Remember back when you had, or maybe if you're young enough, you don't remember this, but you had a hardwired phone with a round dial on it. And if you weren't home, you never got your messages. You know, the technologies that we're using today have always existed. They've always been available. And we had to become more awake and aware to be able to access them. And so educators impact the planet in a positive way, because educators impact consciousness. If we want to change the consciousness of the planet, then first and foremost, we must become more awake and aware. We must become, aware of the fact that we're all on this same blue ball in space. And we've got to get past our embryonic kindergarten mindset that says we've got to fight and wrestle over possessions and imaginary borders. And we've got to realize that it's not the United States against Russia, against Ukraine, against Europe, against Canada. It's all of us together on this same blue ball. That's a grand awakening. Will it happen in my lifetime? I don't know. But I'm going to act as if it will. The true educators are not of the traditional school system, because we know that the traditional school system is missing the mark. In fact, Howard Gardner from Harvard University says that our traditional school systems are dysfunctional. This guy's from Harvard. He said the only thing that our traditional school system is really good for today is teaching you how to become a professor in math or science. We might also add technology to that mix in today's climate. You see, isn't it true that you've learned more about how to face the rigors of life, the expectations of life, and to seize the opportunities of life since you've been out of school than you ever did in school? I'm not anti-traditional education. I'm just anti being asleep. I'm pro being awake, understanding that traditional education by and large develops discipline, a discipline to continue, which is a definite plus, is something that you need to continue and to succeed in a great measure in life. In fact, I'm going to submit to you that one of the highest qualities of all great entrepreneurs is the quality of perseverance. Perseverance is not the most sexy quality in the world, but it's absolutely necessary nonetheless. So educators, number one. As you educate yourself, you expand your capabilities. Your world shifts. What are you doing with your marvelous mind? It's the greatest gift you've been given by your creative source. You know, our greatest gift from God is our unlimited capabilities. Our greatest gift back to God is to access them and utilize them. How are you doing with your greatest gift, your marvelous mind? Truth be told, most people, studies prove this, are not doing very well in that area. You know, the average household in North America has a television on 7 hours a day. 7. Now, are there some good things on television? Yeah, there's a few. But studies of the habits of the world's most wealthy prove that they don't watch TV. Why? They have a life. They've got too many things to accomplish and to do. They're living instead of fantasizing in front of someone else's reality. Enough on that for now. But educators impact the world in a positive way. Be an educator, first and foremost of yourself, and secondly, of those around you. You know, I have been blessed to be a professional educator, but you don't have to be a professional educator. You can educate your children. You can educate your spouse, your partner. You can educate your neighbors, your friends, but you can't give what you don't have. You with me? So the first job always becomes to educate yourself. Educators positively influence the world. Second group of people who positively impact the world and leave a legacy are entrepreneurs. Now, I personally believe that every single one of us should be entrepreneurs. And that is true even if you have a job, because there's two kinds of entrepreneurs. There are entrepreneurial thinkers, and there are actual literal entrepreneurs who start a business, grow a business, run a company. Both are entrepreneurial, because you see, if you have a job today, I'm going to submit to you that you take ownership of that job. You treat your position as if it were your own. That's part of life, is giving fully, being fully engaged, being excited, enthused, inspired about what you do. Do you love what you do? If you don't love what you do, then please, please find something that you love, because life is too brief in physical form to do something that you do not love. So these internal entrepreneurs take complete ownership of their position. So even if you work on a team, even if you work for a company, even if you're on payroll, be entrepreneurial. Take risks, make decisions, be innovative, take complete ownership of what you do. The second category of entrepreneurs are literal entrepreneurs, individuals who go out and create something out of nothing. They bring from the spiritual, ethereal form into physical form. Wow. That's using the creative force in and through ourselves. That's being a co-creator with the universal intelligence. Great entrepreneurs impact the world and leave a massive legacy. People like Elon Musk has impacted the world. Steve Jobs impacted the world. Bill Gates impacted the world. Yes, they changed the world, but let's go back and discuss what we've already, re-access, if you will, what we've already discussed, is that everyone changes the world. You do, every single day. Every single action you take, every single thought, every single feeling sends out a vibration into the universe. Every single action makes an impact on everybody. We're all interconnected. And what I'm talking about here is a step beyond, is taking something out of nothing and bringing it into something. You see, that's our karma, if you will. That's our dharma, if you will, in the West, is to complete the process. You know, the East and the West have different objectives, and I won't get into that here. But in the West, our objective is to have an impact over gross matter, to bring spiritual power into physical form, to use spiritual power to create physical results. And that's a completion of the process of inspiration, thoughts, feelings, actions, congruence across all three planes of existence and bringing it into physical manifestation. That's the most noble thing, in my opinion, that you can do. You see, my passion is to help you find your innate abilities. I've coined a term as innate ability development. This is your unique genius. These are your specific gifts that you've been given by a creative source. Howard Gardner, again from Harvard University, has said that you're a genius, an absolute genius in one, if not two areas. And yet our traditional school system typically only measure and reinforce math and science and compliance. You see, think about it. Go back to your school in your memory, and the person who was the creative thinker, the innovator, was not rewarded. The person who's rewarded most greatly is the person who complies, who fits into the mold. But you see, no one who was normal ever made history. Be an innovator, be a creator. Use both sides of that brain that is the vehicle for mind. The unlimited power that flows to you and through you. I could talk about any one of these topics for a long, long time, as you can probably tell, and I'll condense this down here. Become an entrepreneur, even if it's an internal entrepreneur where you take ownership of a job, because you see, so many people tell me, James, I need a new position, I need a new job. Maybe. But what I guarantee is that you must outgrow your current position. You will never, ever, ever be blessed by being less than your current position. If you're a literal entrepreneur, then that's where you take your innate abilities, align those with your unique purpose, and you grow a business. This is how I can help you. To help you define your innate abilities, not some sheep dip, one-size-fits-all approach, but a unique approach for the individual that takes you as an individual into an account. Take those innate abilities, align them with your specific purpose, which you do have. And then you can grow a business, increase fulfillment across all areas of life, and you will live a truly meaningful life. And that, my friend, is a life well lived. Hope I've given you some things to think about. Until we speak again, stay awake, love life, and be epic.